with the first coast. It essentially refers to northeastern Florida and southeastern Georgia and European settlement. So the goals of my project are to basically describe the species composition and abundance of the sharks found in these nearshore regions that are the beach. And by characterizing these populations, we'll be able to investigate long-term abundance patterns as well as with special emphasis on seasonal and temporal variability, spatial and temporal variability, excuse me. I'm also doing some resource use work via stable isotopes, but that's not today's talk. And the reason why we care about these sharks on the beach is that in the area, this map on the right shows two productive inshore systems that have been identified as nursery grounds for many coastal species. And during this sampling that took place from 2009 to 2011, and still to this day, some work was done on the beaches in an unstandardized fashion that indicated differences in species assemblage than what was found on the inshore. And so that led us to explore a little bit further out and standardize our fishing effort on the beach, because one thing we can do is we can compare the two systems and understand how they change through time. Also, animals on the beach are more susceptible to overexploitation and fishing pressure, and so this has fisheries implications. In these surveys, the inshore survey and now the beach survey is submitted to NOAA and the national program. So in standardizing the survey, we focus on two nearshore systems associated with river inlets on the first coast, and the insert will give you an idea of what we're talking about. The most southern one is the St. Johns River, and the northern one is actually the Florida-Georgia border. So just two productive systems. We utilize a 100-hook bottom long line. 50 of those hooks are the same size that are used in the inshore system, so we have a direct gear comparison with our nursery grounds, and then we have another set of larger 16-aught hooks. We are looking at different habitats based off of depth, and we also use drum lines to look for bigger animals for some of our ongoing reproductive studies. So as an overview of the differences between these two systems, I'll first ask you to look at color. You can see that the blue is split between both, almost 50-50. That's the Atlantic sharpnose. That's the most abundant species in the region. However, the red on the left is our black-nosed shark, which is almost entirely mature animals found on the beach that is not detected significantly within our inshore survey. Conversely, the bonnethead shark does not really show up on our beach survey, but is significantly detected as an adult through our inshore survey. And so there's these ontogenetic shifts in habitat preferences depending on species that become apparent when we start to look at overall catch. When we look at productivity as measured through catch per unit effort, and this is one of our ways we look at abundances, this is overall sharks. This isn't broken down by species, but here we can compare years. We can also compare hook sizes and site. So on the left, we have those two hook sizes on the beach, and we can see that for the most part, things are consistent. This year has been a bit of a drop-off, but there's no difference in hook size between the two gear types. When we look at the location differences from the nearshore to the inshore, we see that the beach is more productive, and this does not take into account environmental variables, but those inshore systems are more susceptible to fluctuations in salinity and temperature from rainfall, storms, etc. These are things we're piecing together now. But there's significant interactions between site and site and year between the two systems. Then some of that temporal variation we were talking about, when we look at the beach through seasons, we can see that catch rate picks up in the beginning of summer and then levels off. And on the graph on the right, this is to show diversity, not dominance. So not so much that species are dominating each other, but that many species are co-occurring within these nearshore environments, which further emphasizes the importance of understanding what's going on there. And so we know there's at least 14 shark species that are detected in this survey. There's a clear ontogenic differentiation between the inshore and nearshore habitats, and these habitat uses changes over time. The biggest thing we're doing next is processing these isotope samples to try to understand how resource use changes over time. Thank you. Have a good beer, everyone.